Once in a faraway land there was a traveler, a merchant who moved about from city to city via caravan. On a journey to one of these cities upon the north coast of Africa, this man was separated from his caravan during a most violent and blinding sandstorm. To his dismay and utter astonishment, he was isolated and in an unfamiliar area. He wandered for days, using the meager water supply he carried, desperate for refuge from the desert sun and heat. It was on the 5th day of his wanderings, when he was nigh unto death, that he discovered a small clump of palms and some murky water. It was an oasis. He was relieved and fell to his knees, praising the Almighty for this place, and he refreshed himself, both drinking and washing from this small pool of water. He abode there for over 3 phases of the moon, eating dates from the palms that also gave him shade. And, time to time, he would venture out in differing directions from his place of refuge, to distant ridges or rises of the land, to try and see passing caravans, or perhaps a familiar landmark. Finally, early on a day following a waning crescent of the moon, he spied a distant movement, his caravan returning from the coast. He joyfully reunited with his people and recounted all the blessings he received from the oasis that preserved his life. This small and rather simple oasis, previously unknown to his tribe, received the name of this man, and this oasis became a special place of honor and respect. Now, many, many years later, there was another traveler. This man was also a merchant, a trader of international goods. He was a very wealthy and renowned businessman, and traveled much among countries. And it was on a trip that this man visited the north of Africa, where he was to do business. Being wealthy and influential, he stayed at a very exclusive and prominent resort located on the edge of the city. One day, after conducting his meetings and taking care of important matters relating to his company, he had free time before a lavish celebration was to be held that night in his honor. Interested in seeing the surrounding land, he chartered a private helicopter and toured the vast desert west of the city. An hour out, he spotted a small cluster of green upon the desolate, barren landscape and instructed the pilot to take him there. Walking a short distance from the landing spot, the man noticed palms around a small, murky pool of water. This was the same oasis that the other merchant had found and sojourned at many years before. After a brief visit, the man left, boarded the helicopter, and returned to his resort. That evening at the celebration, which was full of famous and revered citizens of the city, this prominent man told his associates and friends of the oasis he had visited earlier that day, describing it as a miserable fly-infested mud hole, and that he was happy to get out of there. There is a lesson here, because the oasis was the same, but not to both men. For one, it was a blessing and a place of honor, and for the other, a curse, a pathetic blight. And the lesson is that we often judge not by where we are, but by where we come from.